and welcome. My name is Emily and this is my channel Knitting Out Loud, where I talk about all the things that I have been making. I have 3 projects to show today, including one finished object, one new cast on, and an update on my lingering whip. I also have an acquisition to show, but it's not yarn, so I'll save that for the end, but it's my new favorite t-shirt. I'll just say that. I just sat down to polish off the pot of coffee this morning. I don't know if this is cup number 2 or 3, but I have it in a knitting mug that I got from Red Alder, which is a knitting retreat in Tacoma, Washington, a few years ago, and I don't remember who the maker was, but I love it and I use it all the time. I have finished the Seafarer Socks by Summerlee Designs. These are a pattern in her book, The Sock Project. Last week when I showed these, I had finished the first sock and I was through the gusset decreases on sock number 2. I started them June 7th and finished them on the 22nd. And I was not constantly working on these. I feel like they kind of just finished themselves. And even though it wasn't all over cable, it was a simple enough pattern that I could always very easily tell where I was. There was only one twist row in the pattern repeat, so it was able to still be a portable project that I would take out to restaurants, and I took it on date night and that sort of thing. So it was a great pattern. I think that they're adorable. The yarn for this is Cascade Heritage in highlighter yellow. This was just yarn from my stash, and I've almost worked through that entire skein now. I have exactly 20 grams left. I really enjoyed this pattern. I think that this pattern specifically in these socks, neon yarn might not be for everybody, but I think that it was really fun to do in a neon, and just this pattern in general I think would be fantastic for gift knitting. I'm really going to keep this in mind for anyone that I would like to gift socks to, because it was simple enough pattern that it was really enjoyable to knit. It is not quite a shorty, not quite a full-length sock, so it was like the perfect amount of time per sock. It felt like it moved really quickly, and it looks impressive, like for how simple of the pattern was. Like I feel like it just looks really impressive to gift somebody in like a super special sock. We have been having wonderful weather here lately, so I love to spend as much time as I can in the afternoons and evenings knitting outside in our backyard, and which is typically works out great, no problems. However, it turns out that these socks are the exact color of like yellow jacket attractant, so I found myself not really being able to work on these outside because the bees were coming for me. It was just funny looking back on it. And then I also, raise your hand if you love blocking things during the summer, because it all dries so fast. Normally I will avoid like direct sunlight for my knits. However, with these, I wasn't too concerned because they are incredibly bright, and if they fade a little bit, I don't care. So the front of our house gets great evening light, and I soaked these in, it was, I don't know, 6 o'clock or something, and so I wanted to get them out hanging so that they would dry. But our setup outside, there's really only one spot that I can hang the socks, and it's off of our light fixture, like under our front door, and I couldn't reach it. So I got these huge giant kitchen tongs for like the grill, grabbed those. I was outside in my pajamas at like 6 p.m. trying to reach above my head with kitchen tongs to hang my socks on the light fixture. It was just very comical. I'm sure my neighbors have many questions for me. But it worked like a charm, and I will be doing it again. So they can ask all the questions that they have. All right, I think that's all I have to say about these socks, other than I made them on size 1, US 1, 9-inch circulars. I think I already said I started them June 7th, finished them June 22nd, and I definitely make them again. I have started a new pair of socks. They are baby socks though. So I have one finished and the second one is not on the needles yet. Look how sweet those are. I mean, are you kidding me? This pattern is the Littles pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. Very quick knit. I started this one June 23rd and I finished it last night. So I'm thinking that I'll get the second one on the needles and probably close to being done today, depending on how much knitting time I actually end up having. I made them on US size 1 in Magic Loop. And I thought at the beginning I was gonna have some laddering, but I think I'm good. I think I made it through without any major laddering issues. So that is a win. The nursery theme for the baby that these are going to be gifted to is dragon themed. So as I was going through my scraps, I was looking for something dragony and I found this. It's a dark greenish, tealish, it just seems very dragony to me. So it was the closest, it was the most dragon themed-esque yarn that I could find in my stash. I'm not sure what this yarn is. I want to say that it's Hazel Knits, left over from my Market Henley top. But I didn't think I had very much yarn of that yarn left, and I found like 30 grams in my stash. So I don't know what this is for sure, but I think that's where it's from. I'm making the 3 to 6 month size, and yeah, these should be wrapped up pretty soon. My third and final whip today is my Soft Current Tee by Wool and Pine. I feel like I have been talking about this top forever because I talked about it for a while before I ever cast it on, and I have had it on the needles for about 6 weeks now. So I have some good news this week, and that is that I have made it to the round. We're in the round. We're in the round. And it's very ironically fun for me to record these episodes saying one thing and then the next week proving to myself that what I said was untrue. For example, once I get to the round, I always thought, you know, as soon as I get to being in the round, it's going to fly off the needles. I'll be done in no time. And then I forgot what knitting 12 inches in the round of fingering weight yarn looks like, as far as, or how much time that actually takes to do. Anyways, I'm making good progress. So last week I was on the back. I had not connected in the round yet. I think that I had about 2 inches left on the back to get to in the round. So I knit all of that across the back panel. And then I got connected in the round. We are rocking and rolling. Let me sit my bag down here so I can actually move. And then in the round, I have done, looks like maybe 3-ish inches in the round. So I have about 9 inches of body left to go before I'm ready to do the ribbing. The great thing about this is that I will not have any other finishing to come back and do because of the way that this was made. It all has I-cord edging. There's nothing to do other than block it once it's off the needles. But I can go through and clean, like get my ends woven in and get kind of the joins cleaned up a little bit because that just needs tightened up ever so slightly. Show, I know that I have gotten up close to show the chart before, but I'm just gonna bring it up here so you can see there's this lace section that is bordered by 2 cable rows, and then on the back there is a middle lace section and then another, so like 3 little panels essentially all connected to make one big panel. And then on the front, There are only 2 panels, and then they just connect with the mirrored cables of each other going down the front. So I think this is going to be a really beautiful top. I'm excited to have it done. There are a couple issues I'm a little worried about. I have on the front here, you can probably see this if I hold it back up close, where I joined, I think my gauge changed when I joined in the round, which happens. And I'm hoping that this issue will block out, but I'm not sure. And I don't want to do a mid-project block, so we're just going to risk it. We're just going to risk it. This is where my like type A, like I want to be a type A knitter, but I'm not. Like in practice, I'm just not. My planning and all that stuff sounds very type A, and then in the moment I'm like, nope, just going to move forward. So you can kind of see here on the front, especially, there is like a pretty significant line where I joined in the round on the front, and my gauge definitely loosened up in the round compared to before. So I think blocking will help. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm hoping that it will at least blend out that line where it's almost like pooling somehow, but I don't know what I don't know exactly what happened. It doesn't seem to be doing that as much on the back. Like it's not noticeable at all. So I think that it's from wherever I started that front side in the round that something went sideways. And then the other thing that I am doing for the first time is alternating skeins. I did not do any alternating before I joined in the round. By the time that I got to joining in the round, I had about 25% of my first skein of yarn left, and I haven't run out of that yet. I'm getting really close. This is what I think. This is what I'm down to from that first ball. So we are closing in. However, this is my first time alternating skeins along the side. Every time that I've done it before has been where the whole body is vanilla knitting, and it has been helical diet, which I love. It's super simple. This is also a very simple method. I just did not look up how to do it before I started, which I should have done. It's so silly when I don't just double check things before I think I know what I'm doing. So I'm not, again, going to go back and fix it, but you can see here along the side where my beginning of round is, for the first inch or so, I'm not worried about the gapping. I'll go through and close that up with a mattress stitch. I might have to do that with the armholes anyways if they're too big. But there is a little bit of a line here, and it's all going to be hidden. It's going to be under my arm. You won't be able to notice, but then you can see here for like the most recent inch where I switched my method because I looked up a better way to do it, and it's almost invisible. So that's working great. And all that you do is you can see how this strand of yarn is in the front here. So whenever I get back around, maybe I'll just show you. Oh wait, no, I just finished. I thought that I was almost to a beginning of round. Whenever I get back around, I will move my working strand of yarn up to the front, switch this one around to the back, and then just start knitting again. And that looks a lot better than what I was doing before. Even on the back side, you can see that trapping that yarn was creating a gap there and like tight stitches, and it just didn't look great. And I caught it. I knew, you know, I got to this point and I knew like this will be fine for the underarm, but there has got to be a better way to do this. And I'm not going to love if that's how the entire side seam looks down the body. So I'm super happy with that change, and I think that I'm moving in the right direction here. And now I just need some time to knit. Hopefully this week I make considerable progress on this top. Getting ready to close out July, and I really wanted to have 3 pairs of socks done in July, which, including the baby socks, I will meet. And I wanted to finish my soft current tee, which I think is going to be my next big priority, as well as cast on my Tulsta tank, which is the next shirt I plan on making. I don't want to go too long without a pair of socks on the needles, so my thought process is, at this moment in time, again, I'm sure I will prove myself incorrect next week, is to maybe get just like the cuff of a sock on the needles so that it's ready for me if I need some out and about vanilla knitting and don't want to take this shirt with me, so that it's there. I might just wait till July to cast on the Tulsta tank. Just no big deal. And just kind of focus on this for the next week and see how far I can get so that I can get this done. Next up for socks, I want to make the Sunny Side Up socks by Summer Lee. And those are colorwork socks, so I also will probably at the same time do the self-striping neon socks. And those will be for one of my children. So they'll be shorter than a normal sock, smaller. I also have plans to make doll clothes for my daughter. Originally, I was going to try to surprise her by the end of the school year, but then we talked about it. I thought it would be fun to involve her a little bit more in the process because she's very interested in knitting. She's very interested in drawing the designs. So I think it will be fun to spend some time really planning those out together, working through exactly what she wants in real time, even though I have the paper design to go off of, and then bringing her on to an episode when it's finished so that she can talk about them with me. I thought that would be cute. So that'll be coming at some point next month. And then I will also be doing a half-year check-in on all of my goals. Before I go, I have one acquisition that came in this week that I just have to share on here. It is not yarn, but if this is your first time watching, I absolutely love knitting and running. Those are 2 of my main hobbies, and I'm actually making a mileage blanket for all the miles that I run in 2026. I haven't shown that in a while because it's kind of it's not that exciting of a project to show, but I'll show it again soon once I'm all caught up. I custom ordered this shirt from Etsy. There's a shop called Pages with Alice, and all of her, most of her shop is around running and reading. So I saw this tank top and I reached out to her and asked if she could make one for me. So this is the front. In her shop version, it says Readers Running Club, and I asked if she could custom order one to change it to knitting. So it's this tank top, and the front says Knitters Running Club, and then the back says Run Like You Get to Go Home and Knit. And I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. It is just perfect. It makes me so happy. I would love to have one in more of like an athletic material too, because I tend to sweat, especially in the summer, which you're supposed to sweat when you're running. It's not a dry sport, but I just thought this was perfect. And I was so the original version, which you can get in her shop, says Readers Running Club, and then the back says Run Like You Get to Go Home and Read. But it was a few months ago, so I had to wait a while to get it, but it was, she continued to follow up with me and keep me informed and all of those good things, and I am just so happy. That wraps up all of the knitting related content for me this week. This is our first full week of summer break, so I am exhausted. And as we all adjust to our new schedules of being at home and therapy schedules changing and gym schedules changing and all the things kind of getting shuffled around and camp schedules and everything else, it's just we're in a little bit of an adjustment period in the house this week. But I just got a skylight calendar and got it hung up last night, and it's been less than 24 hours and I'm already just so excited to have that. I think that that is going to be key in staying organized this summer, having some structure so that I'm not being berated about TV and iPad all summer long, and keep us just all organized. So I will let you know how that actually goes in practice, but it seems really nice. I was skeptical about it for a long time, and now I'm obsessed. So I just finished reading Yesteryear, which was such an interesting book. I was super excited to read it, and I did really enjoy it. It was a wild ride, and it got me back on like a psychological I don't know what even the genre of that book would be, if it's psychological thriller or something. I'm not sure. But it got me on kind of a psychological thriller, unreliable narrator kick. And so now I am reading Yellowface, and that has been quite a page turner so far. So that's what I'm reading. And as far as TV, we are still wrapping up The Office, which is a show that we're trying to count up how many times we've watched The Office, my husband and I, and it's probably like well into the 30s, and that's a conservative estimate. We go back to that show all the time. Our comfort shows are The Office, New Girl, Parks and Rec, Schitt's Creek. Like, we will rewatch those over and over and over again. So we're nearing the end. We are in the Andy is the manager phase / Robert California phase. So the end is near, and trying to get our thoughts together about what we're going to watch next. So if you have any suggestions, I think Silo, a new season of Silo on Apple TV is going to be coming out at some point this summer, and that will be at the top of the list. But there are some shows we were waiting for all the episodes to come out for, and just need to go back and actually watch them now. One of them being The Pit. We have not watched the newest season of The Pit, so that's on the list. And then we'll probably start another one of our comfort shows, because as soon as we get through The Office, we're like, oh my gosh, we haven't watched New Girl in a while, or we haven't watched Schitt's Creek in a while. I have not watched Schitt's Creek since Catherine O'Hara passed, so I would definitely like to go back and rewatch that soon. Whew. All right, that's all I have today. I'm just rambling at this point. I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.